What's going on, everybody? It's Wes with another edition of Motivate Your Monday. Here we go. This week, we are diving into the book of Psalm, chapter 27, verse 14. Again, Psalm, chapter 27, verse 14. It reads this way. It says, "Wait for the Lord. Be strong and let your heart take courage. Wait for the Lord." I wanted to share with you this quote from A.W. Tozer where he says this. He says, "God never hurries. There are no deadlines against which he must work, only to know this is to quiet our spirits and relax our nerves." If we were to be honest for a moment, I think we could all agree on this one thing. Waiting on the Lord can be extremely difficult. Now, I know we got some super spiritual saints who probably watching this video that are saying, "Oh no, waiting on the Lord is not hard. It's easy. You just have to do it." But for us other common folks, us other regular believing folks who struggle from day in and day out with waiting on the Lord, it's difficult. And I think if we were to be honest with ourselves, the reason why it's difficult is because we tend to want to try to get things moving. We want things to go the way we want them to go without putting into consideration what God is wanting to get out of us in the waiting period. I really believe throughout the scriptures, waiting on the Lord is God sanctifying our hearts and preparing our hearts, not only to get us to where he wants us to be, but also for us to be able to look up to him, to know that he is ultimately in control. Waiting requires something of you and me. Waiting requires that we put aside our pride, that we put aside our preferences, and we look up to the hills from which cometh our help. I think this is why David, in the beginning of this poem, it is really showing this understanding of confidence in the Lord, that our strength and our hope cannot be found anywhere else. That if we found our hope and our confidence in and within ourselves, we'd fall short, we'd be upset, and quite frankly, we'd throw in the towel because we cannot count on ourselves as human beings. But what we can count on, what is unchanging, what is forever faithful, is God's promises, is God's sanctifying work, and is God's love towards us. And so I want to encourage you guys this week, as you are learning to wait on the Lord, whether it's for this pandemic to end, whether it's finding a job, whether it is praying for a loved one to be healed of whatever disease or ailments, press into the presence of God, pray, and watch him work. Now, I know this seems easier said than done, but as we walk out this faith journey with the Lord, there's one thing that I do know. God is actively at work even when you don't feel like he's at work. Even when you feel like things are not going the way you want them to, even when you feel that things aren't working out the way you would like them to, know that God is working in you to get something out of you. And oftentimes what God is trying to get out of you is to know, listen, you're not as great as you think you are. I'm greater, I'm in control, and I know what I'm doing. I pray that this encourages you. I pray that you and I grow in our knowledge of the Lord Jesus to know what it means to truly wait on him, to take courage in him, and to trust in him completely and totally. God bless you guys and have an amazing Memorial Day. Blessings.